I'm here to talk about one of the Oscar contenders, Hamnet, but not without my cup of tea, Rosemary. Heavily inspired by the film, honestly. Let me take a sip of this. Oh, I love it. Honestly, I've been drinking rosemary tea for a while now, so when I saw that in Hamnet, I was like, what the heck? That's amazing. I love rosemary. Anyways, this is a film that has been compared to Shakespeare in Love, which I have not yet seen. And I know that there was a lot of buzz around the Oscar time and blah, blah, blah. And I don't really want to talk about things that I don't really know, which is actually a lot when it comes to this movie, Hamnet. There's a book that's been involved. Obviously, it was adapted from Hamnet, which I actually have here. So not yet read, but do have and will be reading now, especially after this film. And I just want to get to it. I just want to say I freaking loved it. I really, really, really loved it. I want to say I love Frankenstein. I've been in that hype. I've been in the era. But I also do want to just say that this is a movie that I loved so much. It just feels so tender and soft and private and personal. And I want to be able to express that, but I also want to say that this is a movie that was also obviously the book, the movie, but also, well, I have this version, but Hamlet. William Shakespeare is someone that obviously a great playwright many people know and love and have studied throughout their youth and still studying, I'm sure. And I've yet to really dive in and explore some of his plays and works. And I want to get to this. I want to get to this. There's so much that I want to get to. And just a little side tangent. I feel like because there's so many classics coming out, like I expressed, I feel like, well, I finally finished my reread of Frankenstein and I don't know which direction to go, which is kind of liberating, but it's also like I feel a bit indecisive if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if I want to go down the Wuthering Heights, Sense and Sensibility, read this. How many books can I read at the same time as well? Like, there's just so much. But anyways, back to Hamnet. I love it. If you don't know anything about it, I want to just say this is a film that I don't even think that I can implore you to watch. I feel like a lot of these hangouts I implore you to watch this and I implore you to watch that and you must. But this is a movie that is bestowed upon you. Do yourself the gift of being able to immerse yourself in this kind of film because it's that beautiful. I do also want to say there's a lot of things that are coming to mind. I do want to say that this is a very, like I said, very tender, very soft, very fragile film, and it's very heavy emotionally. It deals with grief and loss, and that's something that it's a lot of things that maybe we want to escape, especially during this time of year. Being more optimistic and happy, it's drawing to an end. We're reaching a new year and new goals and new me. But I also feel like drawing to the end of the year, to me personally, feels like a reflection of what I've been able to go through. And I think this movie just really puts me in a place where I feel grounded. I feel very grounded and again, I don't know, the words that just keep popping into my mind is just like tender and soft and delicate, and I loved it. So my experience, I was able to actually catch it at the Americana. And I went by myself, but it's one of the things that I love so much is that I go to a lot of movies by myself, but what I love so much is that I'm never alone. I'm never experiencing it by myself. There's like all these other people, and something that I've mentioned before in our hangout is that I love to observe like the auditorium. Like I love to see like what is a demographic that is feeling so compelled or moved to actually like buy a ticket or come out, I guess like schedule this in. And especially for this movie that has not yet been released everywhere, I was like, I'm gonna pay like hyper attention. So I was the first one there. I wanted to be the first one there. I wanted to like just see everyone that was coming in. Who was I gonna sit next to? Because I had seen that it was a packed theater. Because when I saw it was actually Thanksgiving, so I was like, a lot of people should be probably out busy, like preparing for either Black Friday or being with family. But I also think it's very beautiful that they're taking some time to actually come and enjoy this movie and support it. And so yeah, and I got to see like again an array of different people. I got to see like a mother-daughter situation, I got to see a couple situation, friends, and even like people by themselves. And I thought that was so beautiful, like just to be able to experience it with them. And I did get to sit next to like a mother. Well, I was like an empty seat, and then the mom, daughter, and then I got to sit next to like a friend group, and it was like a guy next to me. And again, it's so delicate and it's so soft that like I do want people to be aware of like when you go into this film, like there's a very like the shots are pretty much like drawn out, like you get to sit with it and it lets it just breathe, and it's like super nature based, which I loved it. Like a lot of it takes place outdoors in the forest, greenery, and it just feels very regulating in a way. You feel calm and at peace, but you're also experiencing very emotional turmoil while you're experiencing this. A beautiful balance, and the sound design is so, I mean, obviously that's another thing that I'm like, people are going to talk about the performance, because Buckley's performance is one of the, I mean, I've seen her, I think, in one other thing, maybe two other things, I can't recall. And I know that she's a great actress, but in this movie especially, I feel like that was pretty much put on display. And I know that people are going to say like, oh, it's because it's an Oscar bait, I guess. People are going to be like, oh, it's because it's an Oscar nomination or potentially going to be nominated, so they have to do this and they have to do that and they have to like check certain things on their list. But I do think that it did not take away from the actual art, because it is an art. And I feel like, okay, that's a different hangout, but there are movies out there that I feel like, oh yeah, you can definitely see that there's certain things, certain lessons or propaganda or messages that are really being pushed forward, that it kind of like takes you out of like just experiencing it as a art piece, you know. And this movie was, I feel like, was the opposite of that. Like, even though yes, it has a lot of things that I guess merit it for it to become an Oscar, like even if there was no such thing as Oscars, even if it wasn't, I feel like this is how the film would have gone regardless. Like, it was trying to accomplish certain things to make it onto that list, I personally feel. Or at least that's just how I feel now, because I watched it and I love it so much that I do have some sort of like bias towards it. And I do also want to say, like, this is a movie that, it's a very human movie. So I was able to really just sit back, and because I wasn't with anyone that I knew, even if I was with people that I knew, I think that I would have felt like, depending on who I was with, maybe comfortable to cry and really like weep and sob. But because we were all strangers and we were all experiencing this beautiful moment, I think it made it that much more special and personal for me, because I also was able to like, I mean, the guy next to me, he was crying. The mom next to me, she was crying. And I feel like at moments we were like crying in like harmony, in unison, and like all of us at the same time. And it was just so beautiful. And I love that so much. And it's so quiet too. It's a quiet film. So like people that brought in popcorn, I don't think they ever ate a single popcorn, because it's just so quiet and you're so captivated. But it is, again, like there's long shots where it's just like, is it dragging out, where I can see and I can hear already people. I've only seen about this movie like 2 other reviews. One of them, who I agree with, was saying like the most beautiful and compelling things, which I was like, yes, that's exactly how I felt. And the other one, she didn't have like the most, I think that she had a more judgmental lens. And I think that when she went into it, I don't know if she's read the book or not. I don't know what she was expecting, but this is a more focused not on Paul's character or William Shakespeare and like how he becomes like this great writer, blah blah blah. So it differs from what I've heard Shakespeare in Love. Like, Shakespeare in Love is you dive into his personal life right before he's writing Romeo and Juliet, all the aspirations, all the motivations, all the things that influenced him, and like feeling more love. Versus this is like more grief and personal and deals with negative emotions, but it's not so much focused on William Shakespeare. It's really much the absence of William Shakespeare that shapes him to become the writer of Hamlet. And I think that's a very important role too, because kind of like, I mean, going in, I guess, like connecting it to Frankenstein. Like, Frankenstein was a very much, I guess, in the book, because I just read that, so that's also fresh in my mind. He is very absent in like the lives of those that he cares and loves so much. And so he, you know, goes and like dives into his work, and it like causes him a lot of anxiety and frustration. And that's something that you also feel during this movie. You feel like Will, well, he's referred to Will for the most part. I think he's only called William once. And Will, or William, or Mr. Shakespeare, however you want to refer to him, he is very much like the absent person, but you know that it's causing him a lot of anger and frustration and sorrow, and like just the absence of not being there is also so much in itself that you get to explore and experience. So I do think that focusing on just Buckley's character and seeing how she handles things, and there's certain like dialogues are said that I'm like, oof, I feel that. And I feel like there's gonna be people, obviously, like most movies and art is subjective, so some people are going to feel it a lot more and more intensified than certain things because of what they've themselves have gone through or what kind of position they are. So like if you're a mother, I feel like you're going to feel this a lot more than if you're maybe not a mother, because you can only imagine like how that must feel. And yeah, I thought it's just a really, really film. I can't say I implore you to go watch this film, but I do say like bestow this upon yourself to go and make some time to go watch this film, because it's absolutely exceptional. And I do want to say, like, I mean, I've seen so many great films this year. That I don't even want to say it, but I do feel like, I don't know if it's like fresh in my mind and that's why I feel this way, or if it's just like this is exactly what we need. this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I feel like makes a movie categorized as art versus like just entertainment. Like, it's not just like entertainment, it's art. It's so good and it's so amazing. And I think that, I mean, I think that what I also wanted to mention about this film is that people will have different meters of what makes a film, I guess, like a 10 out of 10, 5 stars. And I think that it does it pretty good all around, where, I mean, the composer is Max Richter. And I don't know if you know him, but he actually has one of like my most heartbreaking songs. It's not even a song, it's like a eulogy letter. I don't want to talk about it too much because that is a song that does make me super, super emotional. And it's just like Virginia Woolf, and it's a lot in itself. But he is the composer of this movie. He's the one that made the score. And it's so beautiful, and I've heard already from one of the persons that I was able to see her review on it. She did complain about him and his work and using like a very mainstream song, which I personally think that no, it doesn't matter if it's been used before. It really doesn't. It has, like, to me personally, it still had the same impact, and I loved it despite even being associated to other films. So you might, like, maybe if you're like watching it and you hear the song, your brain might go and travel to like these other films that it's been played with, but I feel like you can still stay in this moment and feel like, wow, this is the perfect song for this movie. And like the way it just ends, I hope that you really do get to watch it. I also want to just say, like, I feel, because there's so many, again, like I said, I feel like I'm just repeating myself now, but like I said, there is a lot of moments that are just very soft and quiet and relaxing, but there's a lot going on visually where you're seeing things, but no dialogue is being exchanged, nothing's being said. And in those moments, those are the moments that I feel like I loved the most. Obviously, the very melodramatic moments where I was like, oh, I feel it. And I do want to share a little story too. That I love the fact that, I mean, we all feel it very differently. But I think that there's a specific scene that touched and moved everyone, because that's the only sounds that I heard from the auditorium. Like, again, no eating, no typing, no nothing. Like, everyone, no talking. Like, there was no talking, and it was a packed theater. So you would have thought like there's gonna be one person that's just not invested in this, but no, it was a really great experience. And the only noise that I heard was like us crying. Like, some people were really, really pouring hearts out, like sobbing. I feel like it's gonna be a film that you go into and like, just, I guess, like, I don't want to give anything away. And I think it's best if you don't know anything. I think that that's how you really allow yourself to feel things more immensely. I think that sometimes because of our anxieties, I know that there's certain people that want to know before like they go into something, like, oh, is it going to be like this? So that way I can mentally prepare myself. If you have to do that, you know, so that way you can actually still go and enjoy the film. But I do think that it's best when you go in like not really knowing much about it. Even if you read the book, I mean, I don't know what the book says. So that's pretty much my point. Like, after watching the movie, I feel so moved to like actually read the book. Like, I bought this book years ago. I also want to say, because a lot of times we feel so forced to like, or we feel so pressured to like, oh, I need to read the book before I watch the movie. And I don't know why we put these like self-imposing rules and regulations, like these laws against ourselves, where it's like, no, that doesn't have to be the case. And it's very much like not the case for me at all anymore, where I'm able to make peace with like, oh, I didn't get to it before, that sucks. Or maybe it doesn't even suck, because again, like, Frankenstein is still a movie. Sorry, I'm gonna keep bringing up Frankenstein for the next few hangouts, I think. But Frankenstein is a movie that like obviously was super accessible because of Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. Like, who doesn't have Netflix? And everyone probably saw it on their top 10, watched the movie, and they're like, wow, that was amazing, or really good, I loved it. Don't need to read the book. It's like, no, still read the book. If anything, hopefully that moves you to pick up the book and read it and enjoy that form of like, I guess, media, because it's very different. And I also feel like even if it's a more faithful adaptation to the book Hamnet, I still think that I'm gonna get so much being able to sit with these characters a little bit longer than just 2 hours. I mean, it didn't feel 2 hours, like, you know. Okay, also I do want to say, you know, when people say like, oh, this movie felt like it was 5 hours, or it felt like such a lifetime, it was so boring, blah blah blah. Okay, this movie did feel long, but not in like the negative way, in like the most positive ways. I feel like these people were, because they're so rich with life, so real. So I mean, I feel like there's certain characters that were just on screen for like maybe 15-20 minutes, and I was like, no, I know, I feel this person so much, like, I know their life. And it's just, that's exactly how I just feel. Like, I just feel like, wow, like, if I can read it now, like, I'm going to read it. Like, I'm gonna like make the time to actually sit with these characters. It's so good. It's so good. It's, yeah, one of my, I want to say like it's my favorite film of the year, and I hope that it wins a lot of awards. But I also keep thinking about like Frankenstein, keep thinking about Sorry Baby. I did really enjoy Sinners. Like there's so many other films that I'm like, ooh, that was also a really good movie. Ooh, that one also had a really good like cast, like the acting, and ooh. But also I'm like, dude, no, like this one was just very different. Like it stood out, and I feel like it's gonna be one that gets talked about for a long time. And I do feel like if you do miss it, you will regret it. Like you have to go catch it, and I hope that you make the time. I don't know how long it's gonna be out. I know that it can vary from like 2 weeks to like a month. I mean, especially with like the Oscars coming around the corner, like it's gonna be here before we know it. I think that it might be out for a while. Maybe it will like not out in theaters, and then it'll come back and it'll be out for like a second opportunity. But yeah, I really do hope that you make the time. It's so good, and it's worth it. And I do want to just I want to say so much about it. I don't want to. Yeah, that's pretty much it.